Hello, my Leo friends. This is Jill with the Healing Moon Tarot, and today we're going to do your September 2018 general reading. We're going to break it into two parts because how my files have been saving. They've been breaking apart files lasting longer than 20 minutes. I don't know why. So, and I'm doing two separate readings. So just kind of depending on the timing falls, just to give you a heads up, I'm not editing my video. I'm stopping the recording and restarting it so it won't do that on its own. Just want to be clear and transparent about how I'm doing things on my side. We're going to start by pulling an oracle card and get things going. I kind of use these as like the main focus for the month or main energy for the month kind of thing, and I think I want this one right here. Empowerment. I mean, Leo, you're a Leo. Don't you always feel empowered? But you may very well be finding something that brings you a bit more of that, or be able to own it a little more in September, when you feel like you have some control over the situation and you're feeling in a really good place of security within yourself. And that makes me really curious to see what the rest of these cards are going to come out and how they're going to kind of explain that working in your life this month. So let's get started with pulling these, Leo. So we're starting with the Hierophant and the Three of Swords. This to me is institution, whether it's school, a counselor, religion, spiritual kind of stuff, where there's some kind of hierarchy and there's like you're being held to a standard or being made accountable for your actions kind of thing. To me personally, it can a lot of times just mean whoever you really go to, like that person in your life that's your teacher, your guider, your guru, your friend that like always seems to have the best advice and is really supportive, but they don't take any of your shit. Like they have some guidelines and they hold you to standards, and but they give you a lot of love. But this is coming out with the Three of Swords, which to me immediately is hurt feelings. Whether you're getting your feelings hurt or you're hurting someone else's feelings, and it may have to do within a hierarchy. It could, you may be having hurt feelings about how something's being run in a group. I keep forgetting that light. It just goes on and off when it wants to. That's okay. Or you're seeking that counsel, you're seeking some kind of group, you're seeking help, guidance from something outside of yourself because you have been hurt, which seems more likely with the Empowerment card coming out. Sometimes we just need other people. We need some kind of system. We need something to involve ourselves in that can help us through. I knew I flipped one. And it's the Magician. We need that kind of thing in order for us to feel like we have all our resources together. So the Magician card, you can see here, he's holding all of the suits of the whole deck, and he is card number 1. So he has the coins, the cups, the wands, and the swords. And this is really having all your resources together, being very aware of your skill set and the resources around you, the people around you. What are their resources? How can I pull this all together to create the magic that I want. So you may not have the resources entirely within yourself without someone helping you discover those things, or being a sounding post for you, or holding you to some kind of standard, or teaching you something about life and perspective, and helping you get in better control of the elements in your life, and how each one of these play, from your emotions to your financial world to your intuition and your thought processes and all of those things. So I know this is a lot of times perceived as a negative card, but sometimes in discomfort, I shouldn't say sometimes, a lot of times in discomfort is when the most growth is made. And you find the power, and you build self-esteem and empowerment, because you get yourself through those hard times, and you realize what resources you do have, how resourceful you are, how capable you are of working through this stuff. Just thinking with my hands. I like to move cards around and try to like get different views and ideas of how I want to, mix them all together. I'm going to pull some more. I think I'm going to leave those alone at the top row and start a new row and just see what that story tells us. Now I flipped. Yeah, okay. Well, goodness. I didn't think we were going to end up with 6 cards. Are we going to fit them all in here? Sorry, excuse me. I'm just trying to make sure you can actually see everything. We have Justice, Sun, 5 of Wands, 3 of Cups, 2 of Wands, and 10 of Coins. These are all beautiful cards, and I'm just going to kind of run through a generic definition. I hate to say generic, but I like to give kind of a definition, just some keywords to people to jog what do you associate with those words or that energy, and that's likely how that, what you need to be paying attention to in association with that card. Justice, I think that one is an easy one. Most people get what justice means. There are clear consequences to your actions. There are you will be held accountable. You know what I mean? The Sun card, bright sunshiny day. This is a joyfulness and a wholeness and a understanding your value and your worth, as how amazing it is to just be a human here on planet Earth. We had the 5 of Wands, which is sometimes a bully card, a conflict card, or a practice card as depicted with this specific deck, where these two people are fighting like MMA style. You got to get your hands dirty and put in some real work to know if you're really good enough. It's a learning experience. 3 of Cups, which is, I always think about girls' night, like a couple of people getting together, enjoying each other's company, having some real authentic connection with each other. The 2 of Wands, this is some duality here, being in one place but thinking about another place, or having two things that kind of pull you. He's standing on the world here, right? And these things are very far apart, but he's equally holding him, and he's encompassed here with how all this comes together. So to me, that really thinks about maybe being pulled in 2 separate directions, or having a duality you have to face. And then we end on the 10 of Coins, which is feeling extremely secure and set in your physical world, having a very comfortable, stable, material world that seems to be without conflict, that, you know, have a house and a home and have your material stuff, life together. So let's try to put this all together and make sense of it now that you have a general understanding here. So your feelings were hurt, and you know, you got to work through that, find your magic again, find your empowerment, feel good about yourself. If someone has done you wrong in a way that was illegal, or has done something, you know, if this hurt feelings falls into this where there is going to be a consequence, that's not your responsibility to serve that out. Justice works on her own accord, if you will, if you want to call it karma, or right down to our judicial system. However, whenever, you just have to trust the process. It is not under your control how that goes, and you just have to stay centered in you and feeling good about where you are. If you can't control it, don't be worrying about it. If you're holding on to a lot of stress regarding in a situation, that's not your business. If it's you that's in legal trouble, the best thing you can do for yourself is to let go of things, get help, get somebody that's going to advise you, and trust the system. Do what you need to do to create a space that's hopefully going to move you through this in a positive way. But if you cannot control it, you can only control you, right? That's it. So getting empowered, getting help so you can be the magician of your own life and create the life that you want to have. We then come into this conflict card, and this card is just a reminder that it may not all be easy, and it can be really tough. There might be some fighting, there might be some conflict, there might be disagreements, and trying to like get it put together, right? But you just have to keep reminding yourself that through the difficult points of this, you're growing. These are huge energies. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 major arcana that come out right off the top, and then a 10 at the end. Like, this is some big time heavy stuff, Leo. And after this conflict, I mean, these are good cards. These are getting together and having good authentic relationships with people and having a good time and feeling good about your space. The duality card's not a negative card. It's just appreciating, like, I'm a hermit, but I love to travel, and both of those things are very important to me, and finding a balance in how to live and incorporate this thing that may seem very strange when you look at my personality as a whole. But it's important, and I need to respect that part about myself, and I need to work to make that a part of my life so I don't hate this other thing, you know. See, he seems very specifically balanced within these two things. They're not out of his reach, they are in his reach. They're both in his hand, and he's perfectly centered in between the two of them, even though they're far apart on the scale, or, you know, in the grand scheme of things, but they're both still his. Okay? And you can create a happy, healthy home life. This is long-term security, being in a place where you have the material things that you want and that you value, and you think, you know, this, I'm thinking long-term, and I'm gonna create a home for myself, or just whatever. If you have that white picket fence kind of ideal of creating your home, or regardless of what that is, but being able to cultivate and put in the work and create this space that you can call yours, and you can feel really comfortable there, and you think long term with. So that is something that you can do. And you can do that and still enjoy things away from it that are pretty far away, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, clean up these cards, and then we're going to do the second half of this. All right, Leo, for the second half of this, we're going to move to a different deck. This is Happy Tarot. It's a fun little deck that I enjoy using, and we're going to do a style that I've been doing in my past readings where I pull specific cards for mental space, physical space, emotional space, and spiritual space, and then I'll pull a couple suggestion cards at the end just to end us off with. And again, this first card is for your mental space this month. We have the Four of Coins. So mentally, regardless of all of those other heavy energies going on, you may be really guarding your financial world, being really smart about budget. Ending on that Ten of Coin card, gave a glimpse that that's something that's important to you at this time. This card can talk about greed a little bit, but I really don't think that's where it's falling for you right now. I believe it's just being mindful about how you spend your money, where you spend your money, why you spend your money, reining it in a little bit, getting a little bit of better control over your budget and your lifestyle so you can think long term and you can grow into bigger dreams of what your physical world can create for you. Let's pull you a card for your physical space. We have the Emperor. So definitely feel like you're trying to, that Magician just keeps coming back to mind of really taking control and deliberately creating the life that you want. So the Emperor coming out in your physical world, this is getting organized. This is putting in some work. This is being paying attention to detail and just getting better at managing your space, your life, your job, and getting into a better routine. Seems like that's going to be the physical space for the month of September for you. Let's pull a card for your emotional space. We have the Page of Wands. So I always see the Page of Wands as like super flirty, fun, young, youthful kind of energy, who's out there like trying to figure out what really really excites him, what really gets his really floats his boat. He's willing to experiment and try new things and think outside of the box. And so this coming out in your emotional space, you just may be feeling really carefree. Maybe a partner, a significant other, or friendship is exciting right now, or lustful right now, or you're just getting to express some charisma, that kind of thing. It seems like a fun energy for you right now in your emotional space. I just warn not to be too carefree. And it is a wand card, so this is a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius most likely. So it could be your energy or you're experiencing this kind of emotional stuff coming from somewhere else. But regardless, that's a really fun energy to come out in your emotional space. Let's pull a card for your spiritual space, Leo. I think I flipped one. Flip two. We have the Tower and the Eight of Wands. So the Tower is kind of gonna break things apart and tear things down for you a little bit. Sometimes this is really difficult energy for people because they don't like change. This coming out in your spiritual space, this may just be going back to the Hierophant card. like I said, that can be a teacher or having to do with your spiritual practices, reaching out for counseling or communion with people. And it is depicted from a spiritual point of view in the cards. It's just the grand scheme of things lends much more than that. Back when those cards, when cards were created, council was your church or spiritual group. You know what I mean? So, this coming out spiritually, it may be because I turned that card upside down, didn't I? Maybe it's because you seeking counseling. This is your counseling is breaking down some walls for you and bringing you back to your foundation, so you can then have this fresh foundation to grow what you want to grow. And it looks like it's happening really quickly. The Eight of Wands is a very quick moving energy kind of card. And to me, I always think of these as arrows flying through the air, and set your intentions. That's what comes to me with this card, is always set your intention. Where are those arrows flying to? They're getting there, and they're getting there fast. So be mindful about how you're thinking about yourself, what you're talking to yourself about. What are your intentions with anything you're involved in, as long as you keep your intentions good. And be mindful about what you're sending out there into the world, because these arrows could be landing a multitude of places, and some of them really negative places. So be mindful and think about your intent, especially spiritually. It just might be you learned something you didn't know, or experienced something that you'd never experienced before, or you've changed your point of view, or something's come into your life that's changed your spiritual relationship, or it's just made you rethink how you approach that part of your life. So let's pull a couple suggestion cards here to end things off. So now we have the Ten of Coins, which was your last card with the other deck. And we have the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is a real soul connection with someone, like your very closest friend, or your significant other, or like parent, child, like really deep, true, loving connection with somebody. And 10 of Coins, like this person's obviously created a really beautiful space and they're surrounded by their family, and everybody seems happy and content and comfortable, right? So this coming out at the end, I think that's just I just heard somebody screaming. I don't know where it came from. It's probably the kids playing. It kind of scared me though. It wasn't a scary scream, just a scream. What was I saying? These two coming out, just after everything else, I think you just need to stay focused on all the good things that are happening in your life, and they'll continue to happen. And you just sometimes you need to shift your perspective on your circumstances a little bit, and try to throw a positive light on things, or get really grateful about things, or like with that Hierophant card and our Emperor sitting here, take some different measures to reorganize things a little bit, or to get some help to help you shift your perspective, help you understand your own thoughts and feelings a little deeper. And it looks like September could be an absolutely amazing month for you, filled with a lot of love and joy and connection and feeling comfortable in your space. So don't let your feelings get to her, and don't let it, change how awesome the rest of your month can be. Also, if someone has hurt you, if you can remove yourself from the situation and try to make justifications for them. I know it sounds horrible, but if you don't know why they did what they did, like, you never know what's going on behind the scenes 100% with someone. And I'm not telling you to allow people to mistreat you. If someone breaks your boundaries, that's just not okay. I don't care what their justification is for, but you can sometimes let go of some emotional stuff if you can think of some, like, even if they're really ridiculous excuses for why this person did what they did. It helps you understand that you really, at the end of the day, have no idea what's going on in someone else's life and in somebody else's head. And sometimes people do really crazy, stupid things that can be really hurtful to others, and they're almost justified from their point. They're justified from their point of view. But I think we're gonna end there today, Leo. This was a fun reading to do. I appreciate you spending time with me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, I'd love to hear from you. You can hit me up in a comment section below, or hit me up on one of my other social medias. I do take direct messages, and I'm happy to chat with people. And on my Instagram, I do daily card pulls at least 5 times a week. And I really enjoy putting content out there as well. So if you'd like to see me again, remember to hit subscribe and be well.